Hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry, a couple minutes late here. Zoom was not wanting to connect to Facebook once again, so going live over the mobile app. Welcome back. For everybody that's been keeping up with Historical Light, for quite a while now. We're going live every night, trying to be on here by 8:45, sharing some history, and then ending it up with our traditional 9 p.m. toast. So this evening, like I said, we typically go live on Zoom, but was having some issues getting it to connect there, so went live direct on the app. And let me know how everyone's doing tonight. Give us a comment in the comments here, and we'll check in with all of you. It looks like we got several of you guys popping in already. I see Most Worshipful Kellerman, Most Worshipful Morrow, Brother Staley's back, Brother Barber. Good to see all of you. Thank you all for joining in this evening. Well, so in a true tradition of Historical Light, as you guys have kept up with us, you know during this we share a little bit of history. And today I was actually going through some of the archives, doing a little bit of research, and I came across a pretty cool write-up on the Grand Lodge building of the Grand Lodge of Kansas. And, well, there's two different ones here. I'm going to read out of one, but I'm going to show the cover of the other. So this one I love, if you guys can see that. So the Grand Lodge first bought its building as an old Victorian house directly across the street from the state capitol. And you can see that house in the front there, and they added on that back addition. Some of you have heard me tell that story before, but they added that on as the library. And part of what I'm going to read is going to talk about that. So I wanted to show that picture because I think it's really, really cool. And Brother Stoops, if you're watching, we were supposed to have Brother Stoops on with us this evening. I was not able to get Zoom to connect to Facebook, so if you don't mind, I'm going to try to have you back possibly tomorrow. I had to go live direct on the app, so it's not going to let me let anybody in, unfortunately. So anyways, there is a write-up on the history of the Grand Lodge building, and I wanted to read at least the first page out of there because it has some really neat tidbits in here that I think you guys will find really interesting. So this is called the Masonic Grand Lodge Building of the Ancient, Free, and Accepted Masons of Kansas. The Grand Lodge of Kansas had a phenomenal growth of membership from its charter date on March 17 of 1856 to the annual communication of February 15, 1905. This also happens to have been the anniversary date. After much discussion, the Grand Lodge of Kansas authorized the Council of Administration to purchase the residence at 320 Southwest 8th Street in Topeka, Kansas. They bought the building at a cost of $10,000. Additionally, some remodeling was done, and a new heat plant was added for the before occupancy was taking place. This brought the total price to $23,043.75. Now, a big portion of the remodeling they're talking about there that took that extra $13,000 was fixing up the Victorian house, which needed to be brought up to date, and obviously older houses at the time need to be fixed up. But they also added that entire back section that you see here. So again, you can see that Victorian house in the front. This entire back section was added onto that house as a library. So now one thing, for any of you out there that are savvy with the history of Kansas Masonry, I have seen very, very few pictures of the interior of that building. If anyone out there has images of the interior of, most especially the library at that time, please let me know. I'm actually working on we'll just call it a paper at this time, but I think it's going to turn into much more than that. But I would love to incorporate some visual there. So let me know if you have anything along those lines. I would love to see that. So we touched on that they did that additional renovation, bringing up to a total cost of $23,043.75. It says, however, the growth rate of the members continued. This matter was then submitted to the Special Committee on the Grand Lodge building. It was composed of the following past Grand Masters: Bester G. Brown, Grand Master 1903, Thomas G. Fitch, Grand Master 1904, Alex A. Sharp, Grand Master 1911, and William Easton Hutchison, Grandmaster 1912, and Elric C. Cole, Grandmaster 1913. At the afternoon session of the February 17th session on 1915, Vester G. Brown, Grandmaster, speaking for the entire committee, gave report, and it shows here what pages you can find that in the report. A motion was made by Elrich C. Cole to accept the report. It was seconded by Worshipful Master Holyston. The motion carried unanimously, and the Council of Administration was thus empowered to proceed. Edward L. Tilton, the architect of New York, was retained for his architectural concept. Most Worshipful Charles Chandler of 1914 was instrumental in obtaining the service of this firm, as he too was an architect. So right there, that's pretty huge to have a Grandmaster on the committee that's also an architect, be able to head up a project like this. What a godsend. That's a huge thing to take on, and to have someone that much expertise in the front and foremost side of it is major. So he was instrumental in gaining the services with the firm, and they utilized his knowledge as an architect himself. 5 feet of the ground on the east side was purchased and added to the property. Brother William L. Hastie was employed by the Council of Administration as the building superintendent. Bids were let for the removal of the old structure by May 1st of 1916. So this is talking about the structure that we just saw the photo of, that Victorian house. So they utilized that up until 1916. Stories I heard is it was mainly not so much the library part, but the main addition was really falling apart at that time, and it was just getting to the point that it was more nickel and diming them to death, and it just wasn't worth it. So they were proceeding to actually level it and build the building that is currently standing there today. So let's see, where was I off? So May 1st, they had bid for the removal of that structure, and Floyd Seed Fox of Topeka was the successful bidder. Said he accepted the salvageable material as payment. That's kind of unheard of. I guess that's a lot of scrap material, but still, that's quite a bit of work to tear down an entire building just for scrap price. He accepted, we said that, he accepted the salvageable material as his payment. Bids for bids to contract out the erection of the new structure were to be dated by May 2nd, 1916, and thereafter opened on May 4th of 1916. Frank M. Spencer and Son, so I guess that's the company they were with there, Spencer and Son of Topeka, were the successful bidders in that area. The total bid came out to $108,000, with construction to begin on May 15th of 1916. The day-to-day operation of the Grand Lodge office was moved and conducted from the New England building on the northeast corner of 503 South Kansas Avenue in Topeka, Kansas. And I'm not going to go on to read the entire rest of it. It goes on for several more pages, but I just thought that was really cool to kind of get a glimpse into that time period of when they were utilizing that first building and then changing it over, which really changed the face of downtown Topeka there. I mean, directly across the street from the state capitol to the gorgeous building that we have there today. Let's see, we got Most Worshipful Kellerman tied in here saying one of the levels used in the building / remodel was in the museum. I've heard that, and I think I actually even seen it one time, but it's been quite a while. That is fantastic. Got Most Worshipful Bob Talbot back on here saying, greetings, my brothers. Greetings to you, Most Worshipful. Thank you so much for being on. And then I've got a picture here. If you guys haven't seen it, obviously you can Google it. But the remodeled building, or the new construction, they tore down the old and brought up the new. That is kind of a side image. So here's the front here with the pillars. But that is the current structure that stands today. And obviously this is a black and white print. But take a moment to go on Google Earth, especially if you go on to Google Earth where you can switch around and see the streets and everything. You'll see that epic view that Most Worshipful Bloom gets to stare out every day. Well, when quarantine's not in place, but it's really cool to look out the window there and see the state capitol directly across the street. So really neat. With that, I'm still toasting with the Powers whiskey this evening, working through some of that, and we are at 8:59. I'm gonna see how close we are. And it looks like we got 20 seconds here. All right, so I think I may have toasted similar to this before, but we're going to go for it again. In light of reading about our past brothers that have brought us to this point, I'm going to toast to them, and I'm going to toast to us. Because our brothers before us have been diligent and strong and brought us and the craft to where it is today. But it's important, especially in times of uncertainty and struggle that we're going through now, to realize that we are those brothers that we're reading about. And one day, people are going to be reading those names that are us and describing our actions that we're taking today. And we need to keep that first and foremost in our mind, and making sure that how we interact with the craft today leaves it better than we found it and moves it strongly into the future. So with that, my brothers, I will toast to all the brothers before us and all of us, and may we bring Masonry rightfully into the future. Cheers, brothers. And Brother Stoops, I see your watch. I got your message. I don't think you heard before. I'm very, very sorry. It was not you being late. I was trying to tie in with Zoom into Facebook, and we were having another night of technical difficulties, was not letting us actually connect. Otherwise, I'd be able to let you in, but just wasn't able to. So I'm very, very sorry. Going to talk to you here in a little bit, see if we can get you on tomorrow. Brother Maddox talking about the ever-ending bottle of Powers whiskey here. As I've mentioned, I'm not really much of a drinker whatsoever. So literally these little toasts I take every night, that's it. I don't sit around and sip anymore. So this bottle will probably last me quite a while, to be honest. All right, brothers. Well, with that, keep in mind to check back in with us tomorrow and every night. We're going to be trying to do this nightly for the remainder of the quarantine. Hopefully that doesn't go too long. But every night, 8:45 to 9. Check back right here on the Historical Light page. And until then, be well, stay safe, and take a little time to save history. Love y'all. See you tomorrow. Cheers.